In this video, we are going to look at a very important area of the hand, which is the quadrangle. Now, where is the quadrangle? The quadrangle is the part of the hand that is formed by the heart line and the head line. So I've talked about the general quadrangle being too far or too close, but sometimes it's one or the other side of the quadrangle that is too close. So in this case, we're going to look at when the termination of the quadrangle is too narrow. So it's okay at the beginning. So at the beginning of life, we are open to people and to ideas. But as time goes by, we develop certain fears and uncertainty, and we may worry about things like what may happen at the end of our life, like do I have enough money, how is my health going to be old age. So we tend to be a lot more worried. Remember, when the quadrangle is narrow, we are more worried. Now the opposite is when it starts very narrow, and then as life goes by, it actually goes to a more normal width. So in this case, at the time, like usually at the time of our childhood or when we are young, we start with a lot of doubt and suspicion, and we tend not to trust others. So a lot of the time, this is when we have been hurt in our childhood. But as time goes by, then we let go, and if it's really wide, we tend to withdraw from the world. So it could be because we have been hurt, or it could be just because we need some quiet time. So the beginning, more tension, and at the end, we are not caring as much. Now, when the narrow part is only in the beginning, so you have wide, and really narrow in the center, it's called a bottleneck quadrangle. And it means that at a certain time of your life, there's a lot of confusion and uncertainty, and especially middle of life, maybe around 40. And this makes for a person who is going to be very unpredictable, because the whole quadrangle is still going to have an effect on the whole life. And this also may create a lot of lines of confusion. So if you look at your hand and you have all kinds of lines everywhere, it could be because of the fact that the quadrangle tends to be very narrow in the middle. Now there is another quadrangle, very common, unfortunately. Like I was mentioning, that you need to have those two shapes. And when we have a nice round shape of the head, and it starts up and then it goes down, then it is a problem. It is a problem because it's blocking the quadrangle. The angels actually cannot go through that. So what's happening is the heart doesn't trust, and we tend to store a lot of negative emotions, or the negative emotions are going to be expressed at a very inappropriate time, or maybe not to the right people. We tend to criticize, and we tend to be convinced that others are trying to take advantage of us. It could be because there was some sort of abuse when we were a child, and we tend to be always on the defensive. Now, it doesn't mean it has to stay like that, okay? So we could actually grow another line so that we can open the quadrangle. But this is definitely what the heart line going down towards the quadrangle means. Now, something that is extremely common is when you have a line in between the heart line and the head line. When I'm talking about a line, it's almost horizontal. Usually it's a little bit on an angle. And this line is creating a short circuit between emotions and reason. And it becomes a line of interference. So at a specific time of our life, we may make a dramatic or very emotional move, and we will reopen the wounds of something that happened in the past. So this could bring a lot of regret. So depending on where it's touching the headline and where it's touching the hotline, you may have these two times of your life where things are going to be very dramatic and very emotional. So the last one I wanted to show you is the famous Simian line. So the Simian line means that the heart and the head are merging together. So basically you have two energies, the head energy and the heart energy, and only one channel. So because you have, it's only like, it's as if you have two rivers that are trying to go through the same bed of the river. So sometimes if it's the heart line, things are going to be too hot. The person is going to be overly emotional. And sometimes the person is going to be too cold, like maybe overly calculating. So because of this, it gives a lot of intensity and a lot of passion. And if you use this well, I mean, if you have a very strong destiny line going up, then you are going to be able to accomplish miracles. Like one famous person who has a line like that is Anthony Robbins. So, you know, when you are listening to Anthony Robbins, there is a lot of passion there. But you need to have a good destiny line going up.